If you are someone who suffers from anxiety and you really feel like it is starting to control your mind, your happiness, and your love life, then you will want to watch this video. Because what I want to do is I actually want to start to flip your notion of anxiety, and I want you to see it as something that is serving you in a positive way. I know that sounds weird, but stick with me. In this video, I'm going to give you reasons why anxiety is actually your superpower and you can use it to your advantage. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Renee Slansky. I'm a professional dating and relationship coach, and I help women from around the world find and build the relationships they desire and deserve. Now, one of the things that I do is I actually work with a lot of women who have high anxiety. They either have clinical anxiety or they just are quite anxious people. And if we look at it statistically, anxiety affects in the US alone around 40 million adults, so aged from 18 years and up. That is a massive statistic. Now, this is clinical anxiety. So imagine how many people are affected with just anxious thoughts on a daily basis. For some of you, anxiety has started to control your identity, started to control your actions and your words to a point where no matter what you do, you just don't feel like you're going to get any sort of peace and progress. So this is why I really wanted to do this video, not only for my clients who I work with, but just for people out there in general who you feel like you're just never going to have that peace that you want and you're just in this constant state of confusion or second guessing yourself. So before I jump into these really practical tips, I want you to hit the subscribe button, give me a big thumbs up, click the like, and please, if this video does help you, drop a thanks Renee down below. Okay, the first thing we need to understand is anxiety is sending you a message that something needs to happen. Why do we have anxiety? Let's just start with that in the first place. Anxiety is basically stress, and your brain is actually wired to produce stress to be able to keep you alive. For example, if you are driving a car and all of a sudden a car pulls out in front of you, your brain is going to go in high alert that you need to stay alive here. And so it's going to basically switch on your anxiety to full mode, your adrenaline, all of that, so that it can be completely awake and aware to be able to do what it needs to do to keep you alive. Now, obviously, if you're experiencing anxiety on a daily basis, and especially when it comes to your love life, it's not really a matter of survival here. And what we tend to do, or what anxiety tends to do, is it tends to magnify a certain feeling to a point which basically causes you to have the effects of stress on overdrive, which could be, heart palpitations, lack of sleep, adrenaline, all of this, and let's just say confusion. And the reason why we have confusion is because when your brain magnifies the situation and dissects it and goes, well, why is she stressing here? Why is she so anxious? No one's dying here. That's where the confusion comes in, because basically there is no congruency there. Your brain's like, I'm going to go into the survival mode, but you're not dying. So why is it like this? And we have all that confusion. If your brain does something, it is sending you a signal. And that signal is something needs to happen here. Something needs to change. This is why I want you to see it as a superpower. Because so often in life, we just live or date without being conscious about what we're doing or what we're feeling. And it's usually not till later on down the track where we start to realize, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Oh, maybe I should have been more aware. And we start to have all the after effects, and then we're left with damage control. Now, if you have anxiety, what you can do is you can actually turn it around to be able to use it as a map for what you need to do. For example, if you're going on a date and you have anxiety about going on this date, instead of just reacting to that anxiety or sweeping it under the rug and pretending that everything's okay when it's not okay, use it as a little bit of a GPS system. So I'm feeling anxious because I'm about to go on this date. Okay, ask yourself the questions. Why do you feel anxious? What is it that you're particularly anxious about? And try and have maybe 3 points if you can find. Well, I'm anxious because I don't know what to talk about, or I'm anxious because it's my first time dating again, or I'm anxious that I'm going to choose the wrong man. Okay, you've now got at least 3 different points there that you can start to apply facts to so that you're not overrun by feelings. If you're anxious about conversation, maybe go online quickly and download a free cheat sheet on how to have conversations, or watch one of my other videos on how to approach and how to talk to a man so that you can go in there feeling prepared. The second thing you need to do is you need to make friends with anxiety, okay? As I said, anxiety can be a really good thing. If we're feeling anxious about a certain person, maybe that's not even necessarily your anxiety speaking. Maybe it is your intuition. Maybe it is a signal of your unconscious saying to you, hang on a second, this is something that hasn't been addressed in your past and now it's being triggered in your present, so we need to do some self-work here. Anxiety isn't always there to cripple you, okay? Anxiety only cripples you if you give it power to cripple you. But what you need to do is you need to be at peace that you have maybe an anxious mindset. I'm not saying that you have to fully accept it and succumb to it and be a slave to it. What I'm saying is that don't expect anxiety to necessarily just disappear all of a sudden. If you are someone that does have a lot of anxiety, maybe clinical anxiety, there is obviously neurological pathways in your brain to always go that way. And it's not just going to disappear overnight. Don't necessarily wait till you feel like you don't have anxiety, especially in that moment, because you won't just feel it. Instead, focus on actions on how you can start to balance out that anxiety and get some sort of peace in that moment so that you can make rational decisions. Because what anxiety does is it puts us in a sense of an irrational mind, and we start reacting, which then builds on even more anxiety, and we just end up being a hot mess. You're sitting at home and you're waiting for the text, or you don't know if he's going to call you now that you've been intimate with him, and all this sort of stuff. Instead of waiting for that horrible feeling to pass and that anxiety to pass, go, okay, what can I do in this moment to start getting more peace? What can I do right now so that I'm not overrun by my feelings, and instead I'm focusing on facts so that I can start doing actions that reflect the truth of the matter rather than just how I'm feeling in the present moment. Which brings me to point number 3, interrupt feelings with facts. What happens to us when we, it's really hot in here. What happens to us when we, did you see that? It's almost like emotion builds up on top of emotion on top of emotion, and we just like do our head in, right? And we usually make a mountain out of a molehill. So how do we prevent that? Because that's what we want to do. We want to start preventing that point where we get to it, where we just kind of like go into full-on panic mode. What we need to do, as I said, is we need to start introducing facts. For example, if you're someone who has a lot of anxiety around choosing the right men because you've had a lot of broken relationships and now you're scared to go out and date, you're scared to even say yes to any guy, you're just basically second guessing yourself every single point of the way, what I would do is I would focus on facts, and those facts need to be based on truth, because that's what facts are. Facts aren't, oh, this person said this and this person said this. No, facts should be based on the truth. And the truths are, you are worthy no matter who you are, no matter what you've done. Another truth is, okay, a man will react a certain way if we do certain things. So how do we get the reaction out of the man that we ultimately desire? By doing the things within ourselves that we can actually control. This is why love education is like a lifesaver. And if you want to work with me, I would love to be able to have that opportunity. You simply need to click the link down below where it says coaching with me. Or another alternative you can do is you can actually join my private Facebook group, which is for women only, called Worth the Wait, and I give a whole lot of advice in there for free. What love education does is it makes us fully aware of what the truths are when it comes to dating, instead of us constantly being led by our feelings. If you're constantly led by your feelings and your feelings aren't a reflection of the truth, okay, because your feelings are heightened by anxiety, then again, you leave yourself vulnerable to doing things that aren't going to serve you. Now, if these tips are helping you, please let me know down below, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button and give me a thumbs up. Okay, the fourth thing to do is speak truth over yourself. Anxiety is not your identity. What you feel is not who you are. Just because you experience anxiety doesn't necessarily mean that you are an anxious person with a mental disorder and you'll never be able to get over it. No. You are worthy of love. We all have our own issues, and if anxiety is a big part of your life, it doesn't mean that you need to give more power to it. This is about choosing who you are regardless of what you feel and what you experience. And if you can start speaking affirmations over yourself, start speaking the truth over yourself, even if you don't believe it or even if you haven't experienced the outcome of it yet, I guarantee if you do that consistent enough, you will see the effects of that. Remember, if you want to have change in any part of your life, you have to focus on consistency, not intensity. Having little pep talks with yourself before you go on a date, when you're on a date, when you're in a relationship. Things like, I am enough, I am not my feelings, I am not anxiety, I have control over this, I am worthy of love, what is meant for me will always make a way for me. Little things like that. There is so much power in that. And there's power in that because it actually sets off chemicals within your brain that then tries to look for tangible results of the truth of what you're speaking to exist. And lastly, if you want to start turning anxiety into your superpower and feel like you have some sort of control over it so it's not controlling you, but actually serving you, then what I suggest is looking at your environment. The truth is, we become products of our environment. And for the most of us, anxiety has occurred within our brain or become a part of our habits because of what we've experienced or been exposed to. So if you want to start introducing more peace into your life, I would actually start looking at who you surround yourself with, and what's the sort of work environment you're in. Is it something that supports and encourages your peace and joy, or is it something that encourages your anxiety? And also, when you do go on a date, what sort of date environment actually makes you feel safe? Little things like that will actually either trigger you or choose to actually allow you to enjoy that moment. Again, whether we want to or not, we are influenced by what and who we're surrounded by. Well, there you go, guys. I hope that those tips have helped you. Let me know if they have. I have done other videos on how to date if you do have anxiety, so check them out on my channel as well. In the meantime, know that, again, anxiety is not your identity. It is your superpower, and that you can actually use it to serve you and your love life. I hope that this video has blessed you, and I will see you guys next time. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the big thumbs up button, and drop a thanks Renee down below. Bye for now.